fancy intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey everybody, welcome back, and I want to break down for y'all, how did it go? Like, how did Incursions go? The test that me and Server 15, so UltimatDJz and myself, were able to monitor, oversee, and while not control, well, we did get to help make it happen. Well, here are the results from this one, and let's just say that if there are two servers in Star Trek Fleet Command who don't know how to shield, it's us. We're the ones. So Server 20 getting our first win ever, undefeated in 2023. Name a server in Star Trek Fleet Command doing better in Incursions in this game. You can't. It's Server 20. Dominant, undefeated, best in the world. Literally true right now. You can't debate it. Debate somebody else. One was 67.4 trillion points versus 15's very still impressive, beats most servers in Incursions, 50 billion. Wow, this was a constant back and forth. And I guess the good that I would come from this and say is that this reminded a lot of us what Incursions could be in terms of fun level. The activity was there, participation was high from both sides, and everything worked. Now, real quick, I'm not here to argue, and I'm not here to bang the drum for how the event rewards suck. Because they do. They still suck. And I said freaking, and you don't know it, but I did. So, because they still suck, I'm not focused on that. This was not designed to come in and tip their caps and say, y'all were right, we're changing the events. This was to prove that they could actually make a stable, working version of Incursions, and that's what they did. So let's go over everything, what worked, a couple little bugs that did get found. DJ found one. We're going to talk about a couple little things, but just in general, talk about how it worked and what the overall experience was. So for those that don't know, these are two very active servers, very active, and also PvP's there, War's there. So both of these sides, no conflict. And I know on my server, Server 20, we had at least one player in particular that literally just unloaded their tokens and said, raid me. I hate everybody here. Take all of my money. Well, sadly for Captain Poo Poo Head, didn't end up happening in terms of losing. But as you can see, raid scoring definitely is the way to jump up. And yes, before anybody's curious, if you missed the streams that both myself and UltimatDJz did, I did manage to get in. Shout out to my man Theory, level 61 build Enterprise D, one shot in the base so I could sneak in and get the loot because I needed it because it was Tritanium. So DJ, thank you for the loot. But it was fun, and DJ definitely cracked me too. I'm sure he'll put up his own video of him hitting me. So don't feel like it was this one-sided brag fest. I definitely died. A lot. And there's some really big players on 15 that killed me. A lot. So anyway, fun stuff aside, it worked. Even had a couple of interesting exchanges with conspiracy theories. Of course, Scopely's not going to allow the Video Wonder Boy to lose. You're right. Exactly what happened. The numbers were artificially inflated. It's rigged. And yes, I know that they were joking, but that's not the point. There was some levity to this. Even though this was a beta test, it was fun. People were having a good time. They were enjoying themselves. And ultimately, that's what Incursion needs to be. Now, Incursions also needs to work, and it needs to have good payouts. I can't speak to the latter point, but I can start talking about to the most recent, or that former point, that did it work? And good news is it did. So let me give you the full basic list of how it ended up working out in terms of what worked, what didn't, and what needs to still get worked on based on what we've gathered so far. So starting off with all the events, both offense, defense, and leaderboards were scoring correctly in that the leaderboards here for Infinite Incursions on both sides, they worked. That's good, right? Damage dealer worked, champion worked, raider worked. So you were able to just get in, get what you need to do, and success. We like things that work, so that was a positive. The SMS scored correctly. Now, before you look at this, let's go ahead and reiterate this, and I'm sure somebody's still going to say something. Yes, we realize that the Franklin PvP event is hated. Almost everybody hates it, but for testing, we did make sure it worked on both sides. We tested several different variations. We tested DJ's side, where he was the defender, having get PvP kills. We tested my side, PvE. We did both flip-flopped, and it works. So the problems that Incursions were having was not only just problems that we had with, say, the reward structure, there were also problems with these not even working. So that was the whole point of yesterday's Incursion beta run, was to make sure that every fix they had made was actually working. And the good news is that seemed to be the case. Now, there were a couple of things that I want to, mention in lieu of all these things working that haven't gotten messed with. So, for example, base humping, which if you're not familiar with what base humping is, and this is your opportunity to provide feedback as well, comment down below. I've been looking at comments a lot past week. Base humping still is active. Now, we did poll both of our live streams. Yesterday, when we were both live, we peaked at a little over 1,200 active players who were watching the streams wanting to get information about Incursions. That's the most combined that we've ever seen as content creators at one time. So incredibly impressive. But it's more about how curious the fan base was about Incursions. Base humping is still a thing. Do you think it should not be? For those that don't know what that is, base humping is when you take a dead base that's just out there and you constantly spam it and win attacks against it to score points in these leaderboards. If you don't like it, let us know that you don't like it. We did a short poll while we were streaming, and about 70% of the players said, yeah, take it out of the game, take it out of scoring. You should not be able to spam a dead base to score points. Some people liked it. I'm not taking a side, just passing along the logic. One thing that is also part of this that we would like them to fix, but is also known, not necessarily guaranteed will be fixed, is that logs still don't work. Once you've gone to another server, you can't access those logs anymore. Whether that ever becomes something that they make a way to make that happen, I don't know. As you can see, lots of raiding. Even this morning, we were still doing raiding, and then even last night, as you see, lots of raiding. So I don't know if they're going to adjust that. I don't know if they're going to make that better or stronger or whatever, if they're going to make these reports to where we can take them out, because I would love to be able to look at some of these reports. And going into some of the fights that we had, some great PvP battles that were happening and just really fun stuff that we were doing. It'd be good to actually go back and pull those logs, see them, or we take them to Spock's Club or anywhere. And that's currently not available. Can't check your logs. Scoring points on your own server's players was fixed. That's a good thing. So you couldn't just inflate your numbers by, fooling the game that you were scoring by being on the wrong server and then just draining your own guys. So that's a good thing. We didn't want anything that's a problem. Glowing servers was still a problem. Glowing servers being, you see how this is glowing right here, indicating that there's, stuff happening, here on server 20, lots happening in Carpenin right now. Well, what would happen is if I was on server 15 and action was happening on server 20, I would actually see that in that system over on 15, which was a little misleading because obviously you'd go there looking for content or maybe a base that was being raiding and nothing was actually happening. And the biggest issue, if there was one, was lag was still an issue at various points. Now, I ended up raiding probably close to a dozen people total, and anytime there was active base defense, we would start noticing some lag. So we had several people. John was there. We had Trader, DJ, a Theory. We just probably had a couple dozen people around one planet. We were going through this in the beginning portion of the streams, and we were noticing lag. That was still an issue. So go ahead and flame Scopely, because everybody loves the flame Scopely for that. I probably need to make merch that talks about lag as a thing. But in terms of did Incursions work, it did. And we're throwing feedback in and letting them know what worked well and how now we want it to change. And I want to just really reiterate to the point of y'all that we have been big on pushing the feedback that y'all keep telling us as content creators and moderators that you want to see from Incursions. I know that there are going to be those who never want Incursions to have any type of success and want to just go away. And I completely, truthfully respect your take and opinion on that. For those that do want Incursions, the good news is that this worked, I don't want to say flawlessly, but very well. The fixes they implemented obviously worked. There are definitely things that still need tweaking, including the reward structure for a lot of the events. But at the end of the day, what matters is, did we have fun? And I would like to think that both sides had a great time. Both sides enjoyed it, even though there was 2 mining events that launched in the middle of Incursions, which was feedback. Scopely, don't do that. Don't freaking launch mining events during Incursions. That was silly. But generally speaking, Everybody had fun. I think it was a good time. So again, a big shout out to Server 15. Everybody I met there, I had a blast with them. It was a hoot. Thank y'all for the hospitality. Thank you, Server 15. And I don't say that like in a, braggadocious way. Sincerely, it was great to meet y'all. Great to chat with y'all on a one-on-one basis in the game. I've talked to so many of you in Discord and here on YouTube, but in-game it was a treat and really would go toe-to-toe with y'all anytime, regardless of what side this meter is on, because server 20 is 1 in 5, so it's not like I can get too crazy over here with the happiness. This is our first win. I'm excited. We've also been humbled by defeat. So let me know what you think out there, Star Trek Fleet Command fans. Live long and prosper. Stay safe for the Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. Catch you on the next one. And yeah, we're out. We're going to rotate it.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.